The last key, code 177. The heavens decoded. Welcome back, family. This is part 2. We had to make some fixes, and this should be operating correctly now. I've got the microphone functioning. We're still on the old computer. This evening I have a friend that is going to do his best to help me get the Stellarium and the ShareX loaded onto the new laptop, and we should be able to have the new studio set up by tomorrow, hopefully. So if I could get your prayers on that, that would be beautiful. This is a follow-up to yesterday's video. We're going to continue on. This is the day after the 177 days, which ends on the 28th. And I just want you to remember that date, because we're going to be showing you the rest of the code here. And it's important, again, if you are just getting to this part 2 and you haven't seen part 1, go ahead and stop the video, go back, watch part 1, and then come here to part 2. It's going to be really important to understand the order of events. In part 1, I have connected all those videos, and you can go into the video description, and you can connect to all of the links for the videos that we were showing. And if you're not familiar with those charts, many of you will be very familiar with the charts if you've been following along. This is been a developing thing for years, family. And again, I have been following this pattern and this cycle for 6 to 7 years. And before that, I was recognizing from my studies with a group of star watchers who were one of the very first groups of people working on the Revelation 12 sign, and we were involved with hunting the stars even before that. And that is what led me into this work. It was originally, as I've said before in other videos, it was originally the Bible code research that led me into this work. I kept finding codes that were associated with the connection with the stars. And in my research of the book of Enoch and other non-canonical books, I started to realize that there was a pattern in the heavens, and it was also connected to what they call archaeoastronomy. And I was doing some really deep research into the connection of Enoch and the Great Pyramid, and I was also doing a whole bunch of research into the connection of Joseph and his time in Egypt, and I was looking for as much archaeological and written information that I could find, and chasing down every possible detail that I could find and that's what led me to the Essene work and the Dead Sea Scrolls. And it has just been an incredible discovery, learning, and uncovering things that I never expected to uncover. And it's all led to the understanding of these heavenly signs, because the ancients, they took these all of these houses and these constellations, which we call a house in the Mazzaroth. These are different houses. They have different ruling planets, different ruling angels, and the stars are connected to specific angels. The constellations are connected to specific angels. The planets and the sun and the moon are all connected to different angels. And if you understand it with that background, then it is a great play in the heavens. This is a tale, the Bible and the stars. This is all being presented to us every minute of the day, every hour, every single day. You can go witness a grand story playing out in the heavens. Unfortunately, our cultures today have been disconnected from this ancient work, and there's very few people really who do this type of star research. And a lot of what happened is it turned into astrology, which I believe has been severely corrupted. And I don't participate in any type of astrology or using any of these signs for foretelling your future, or it giving you direction. Now there is absolutely a meaning and a sign for your birth. If that is very important, because you and I and all humans are written. There is our codes are written in the stars. Each of us has what we call a star code, and you can see that with the birth of Christ. Um, there were very specific alignments in the heavens, and it happened in a very specific way, and that was assigned to the Magi of what was coming. And the reason that they knew that is because back in the ancient times, they knew exactly what the stars were arranged when a person was born, and that was a sign to help them determine what their spiritual heavenly mission was. And it wasn't something that was looked at as it is today with our modern astrology. It was more simplified, and also the problem that I have with astrology is it's wildly off. If you go look in the heavens, um, and it just go jump on Stellarium, pull up your birth date, look at the position of the stars, and you're going to scratch your head, because they're going to tell you that you're. For me, I was told that I was a Leo, um, and I associated with that sign, um, and I was very confused when I got on Stellarium and realized that no, My birth sign has nothing to do, well, it does have something to do with Leo, but it's not. The sun and the moon were not in Leo, they were in Cancer. And so uh, modern astrology is off, and they have to use multiple tools to do their distinctions in order to get their predictions. And it's a lot of I don't want to be disrespectful, but I believe it's off, and it's not the fault of the people who are doing that research. I don't really think they understand about the precession of the equinoxes, and that's where this all goes wrong, because the planet is tilted, and because of that we have the orbit is not straight up and down, and we have the sun in different houses through the 26,000 great year, approximately 2,000 years in each house, and that is also not exact, because each house is a different size, and that's also another problem with modern astrology. Gives each house 30 degrees, and that's not how it operates. Uh, you can see it with Virgo. Virgo is, in some cases, 3 times the size of a constellation like Aries. There's a lot of things that prove that system has some issues. And if you go back to the ancient star language, there are no issues. There is no corruption. Family, this was placed into the heavens before there was ever a fall, before there was ever any even the physical creation of man, and everything else came after. So this is the original Bible in the stars, and we are showing you the most beautiful heavenly tale that can ever be told, and this is the greatest work of the modern age, because people have lost this. They've lost this language, and now we have the tools to uncover all of this star language. And it's beautiful because we don't have to wait for perfect weather. I can go any part of the day and pull up exactly what I want. I can look back thousands of years. I can look forward thousands of years, and I can do all the discoveries that I need to do. And this helps us to make sure that we understand the language of the stars, because like I said, there is a definite story happening in the heavens, and we want to be able to discover that language. So in our last part of the video, stuck, we were showing the 177 days out until March the 28th. And now we're looking at March the 29th. We're looking at the sun and the moon aligning for the partial solar eclipse. This is just a partial solar eclipse. This is not a total. It's not a annular. It doesn't have the strength of a sign like the other two. So we're going to get back to that to catch everybody up. Again, we're looking at a code in the heavens that began in 2016, family. I connected you to go back to my Escape of the Bride 4. And in 2016, I began to get signs right here in the heavens of the in the heavens that was associated with the house of Pisces. And you can go back and watch those videos. I'm not going to have to repeat all of the discoveries I made. Just go watch Escape of the Bride number 4, and then you will see that I found a code in the heavens associated with the story of Jacob and the wives of Jacob, and it's also connected to the story of Joseph and the 7 years of plenty or storing up, and the 7 years of famine and pestilence. And what we're looking at is the development of that story in heaven, because in 2016 I began to get the signs. Again in 2023, exactly 7 years later, the signs essentially repeated themselves, slightly different, but still the same language with the same players right in the exact place we're looking at now. And so on the 29th of March is one day after the Esther code plays out. And so we have to get back to that. Esther goes through 6 months of purification with myrrh, and we connected that to 4/8 to 10/2 of 2024. And then she goes through another 6 months of the sweet perfumes. We connected that to 10/2 to 3/28 2025. And that's when the purification period ends, and she can be brought into the house. And this is the exact same thing that happens in a traditional marriage. I have my I've done multiple studies. I did an entire 3 or 4 series on Kaddish culture of the ancient Israelite wedding customs. I did some really deep research years ago. I went really, really deep in understanding the entire marriage custom and ritual, everything about the ancient wedding customs of the Israelites, going back as far as I could find, and even looking at their modern culture. And it's really radically different than our modern marriage. And what that does is it causes us to have some misunderstandings that can be cleared up with me giving you some minor details. So we're just going to go over a couple things about the marriage customs, and we're going to show you how that is playing out in the heavens. And once you understand these things, then it's really easy to see how these customs are tied to what we're seeing in the heavens. So first, we're seeing the 6 months of myrrh and the 6 months of sweet perfumes. This code has developed in the heavens for me, as I've said, for close to 7 years. And because I kept seeing this in the heavens, it made me keep believing that we were about to be uh, escaped. It was the escape of the bride, and as many of you know, I differentiate the escape of the bride from what most Christians call the rapture. I believe this is two different events. I believe that there is actually three different events that we will see. I believe that there is the escape of the bride. Then I believe there is what you would call the general rapture, which is the codes that you see in Matthew. And then I see that there is a return. So there is actually three different events that have to do with Christ. I believe that there is uh, an escape of the bride that happens before the tribulation, the real tribulation, because that's also divided. And then you have a period where there's going to be a great revival because many of those that are asleep within the churches, within the world, uh, they're going to wake up. They're going to realize that their form of religion did not save them. And this is, you can paint a wide brush with this across all religions. This is going to wake people up all over the planet, family. It's going to create the greatest revival you have ever seen. We have knowledge is increasing like crazy, just as the scriptures foretold. And people are waking up. There's Muslims every day that are getting dreams and visions, and they're leading other people to Christ. There are things happening in the world that many in the church aren't seeing or understanding, and this is going to connect to all religions all across the planet, including the Christian church. I believe there's going to be a large amount of the Christian church that will not make the first cut, which is the escape of the bride. These are the ones who have been watching. They're constantly looking for the signs. They are looking for their bridegroom daily. They're looking up, they're looking for the signs, they're doing everything they can every day to look for the bridegroom. And that's how you can tell who the bride is, regardless of what their individual beliefs are. If you are hunting for Christ each day, then he knows your heart. And that's what really matters, is that you are seeking to be with your bridegroom. And that's what this sign is here. It's a partial solar eclipse, again in the house of Pisces. And here's where we get into the breakdown of the ancient customs. So first, we have to realize that the ancient Israelites operated in a different way than we do today. They had what's called the double ring ceremony. And family, that is what we see in the heavens. We saw on 4/8, we saw a ring. It's not as brilliant as a what they call wedding ring eclipse, but all total solar eclipses have a band of light around it, and you don't completely block out the totality of the sun. All kinds of people get images of the the I forgot what it's called, but there is a light that is always projected behind the eclipse of the sun, and that looks like a ring in heaven. And then you have the annular eclipses that are a perfect wedding ring shown to you, with the differentiation of a slight degree of the moon being just slightly smaller because of its distance, and that annular then becomes a perfect wedding ring. And then you have all the other types, which are partial, and those do not represent the marriage. And so eclipses are traditionally seen as a warning. And when you have an eclipse, a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse, they typically are a sign of judgment. And so we're looking at a possible judgment sign. This is also connected to these two rings, because we do not have a ring being shown to us on the 29th of March. So we have these two rings, and they can be shown to us on the 8th of April and the 2nd of October of 2024. This connects directly to our 6 months and 6 months. It's a purification period for the bride, and we have a sign. It says that it's not the ring for the groom, but this is the engagement and then the wedding band, and this is similar to what we do in today's world, where we give the bride a what they call engagement or a promise ring, and then the final wedding band goes on at the marriage ceremony. And this is a traditional thing that was passed down to a lot of different cultures that are associated with the Judeo-Christian religion. And this is tied to these ancient cultures of the double ring ceremony. And this is, again, it's duplicated to us in heaven. It's showing us a heavenly code. Now, originally, I had always seen this with the eyes of the Jewish brides, which was associated with Jacob. And then I was shown some codes that put those two brides as the second part of the breakdown of Jacob's story. And what I mean by that is there is a three-part breakdown. You have 7 years for Leah, you have 7 years for Rachel, and you have 6 years for the livestock. And I believe that the 7 years of Leah is a representation of the Gentile bride, and that can be associated with Ruth. And Ruth, being the Gentile bride, is directly associated with the Boaz, kingsman redeemer, and he is a Christ figure that redeems this Moabite bride, and she is a representation of all of the Gentiles that have come to follow Messiah in their walk, and they represent the Gentile bride Ruth. And so I think the first 7 in the code is the Gentile bride Ruth, and then the second set of 7 is the Israelite bride Leah, because Jacob had to work for 7. It was toil, family. He had to toil for 7 years to get the bride, and the representation of the Gentile bride is that she didn't have to do anything. She was redeemed by Boaz. And that is how we, as followers of Christ, who are watching for our bridegroom each day, we are redeemed by the Lamb, and He has brought us out of the world, and we are following Him daily, and we're looking for Him to rescue us. And we watch the signs, however that's done, we watch those signs daily to discover how that connects to the coming of the bridegroom. And that is connected to the 3-part marriage. This can be, if you go back to my series either on Kadesh culture, I've also done this breakdown in the very beginning of my channel. You can look for the wedding signs, and then you can go back and you can look at the Israelite wedding customs on Kadesh culture, and you will learn everything you need to know about the different parts of the Israelite wedding. If I had to go and break it down any more than what I just did, it would be another hour. So that in and of itself helps you to discover what these signs in the heavens are. So we're seeing a pattern develop out. This can be seen as the final purification period of the bride. I connected that purification of the bride video, and you can see how I was connecting that to an earlier period that was being shown to me, and now I see the connection this year, and it is the year after the first 7. And again, family, the reason last year that I was looking at this is because I believed that it was going to happen any day, because it was the end of the 7-year period in 2024. And I was sort of dumbfounded that there was not an escape of the bride, but I was lacking the 1 year that had to be done after the first ring is given. So if you remember back, uh, let's go. I believe we're gonna do this really quick. I believe it is. Sorry, fam. I have to go on a hunt and show you. this here. Okay, so many of you will remember this 10/14/23. In the last video I didn't remember the date, but now we have this here, and this was to me the culmination of the story, because we had the wedding ring eclipse on the hand of Virgo, 10/14/23, and I believed that our cycle was over for the 6 months of myrrh and the 6 months of sweet perfumes. And when we got to the spring of 2024 was when I was expecting the escape. I was actually looking for it on Hanukkah of 2024, and it didn't happen, and I was sort of dumbfounded. So what we're looking at here is this was the first giving of the ring, and you can have 1 to 2 years that the bride has to wait before the bridegroom comes. It's typically 1 year, but it could be up to 2 years, family. This is found in the study of the ancient Israelite wedding customs. It could be up to 2 years that the bride had to wait for the bridegroom. And that was once the first ring was given. So, again, this is taking some time, but I have to develop this out. We have 10/14/2023. This is a wedding ring given to the Virgin. It's on her hand, family. And then we have the 2024 10/2. Here we look again. You can't make this stuff up. This is 1 year later. Now we have another wedding ring eclipse. This is the next ring that is given, and this is the double ring. And again, once I saw this sign, I was believing that if you look at all the other things that are connected, everybody was going crazy over Comet Atlas. If you remember the 911 sign of Comet Atlas at the direction sign of sextants, you can go back and watch all my decodes. This star language was heavy and deep, and we can see a very specific code being shown to us in the heavens. This is the entrance of the birth. We can look at 10/2/24, and we can see that we have a birthing sign. And that birthing sign is being shown to us by the placement of this wedding ring eclipse. Again, we talked about PURIM being the entrance of the womb, and we're looking at a very, very important sign in the heavens associated with the Virgin. We got the wedding ring on the hand. Now we're seeing the wedding ring associated with the womb. This can be when the bride and the bridegroom come together for the child. And if we look at this in a time perspective, then the birthing of the child would be 9 months after this coming together of the bride and bridegroom. And that is connected with we can just look at it 9 months later from 10/2. You're looking at, what is that? We're looking at June, sometime in June. We're looking at the very, very end of the birthing cycle, and that there is a possible, I haven't done the math on this yet. I haven't looked at the final the final parts of the code that is going to be brought forward in the Escape of the Bride Decode 11. And that is coming in, I believe, on the 9th. That will give me enough time to do all the final research to get the new studio set up, and I should have everything accomplished by then. But what we're looking at, this sign is connected with the tribulation, and it's not connected with the first bride. This is connected with the next coming bride. The first bride is ending her cycle on March the 28th. And that is where we're going to go next. I know these videos are long, family, but I have to get all of this out, and I have just pages of information that I need to bring forward. So now we're looking at this 10/2, and then, as we said, let's move forward, and now we're going to be looking at this sign. Okay, we don't have to be exact. We're looking at the I'm going to be doing a breakdown of this at the comet. We're not going to be doing that today, but I just want to bring this forward. We can see that 21P is right here in our sign. But what we're doing is we're now developing out the final part. This is the last key. The last key to the entire story of the Gentile bride. Because we've already gone through the 7 years. We've already now gone through the 6 months of myrrh, and we are finishing the 6 months of sweet perfumes, ending on the 28th. Now we're seeing the sign of the tribulation of the second bride, and the ending of the code on the 28th is associated with the 14th. So let's go there. What we're going to be looking at is the moon, and I'm sure everybody knows about this sign here. Many people are talking about it. It's being presented all over, and we can see that we're going to be looking at the moon here, and we can see, let's do this really quick. Let's look here. It's very important to see this, family. First, let's get it to the point where it's completely covered, and we can see right here we're looking at the house of Virgo. Again, all of our signs have been associated with the Virgin, Virgo, and the Fish family, which are associated signs. These are connected by the harvest spica and the grain sheaf and the corn sheaf. All of these things are connected to the two fish. You can see it's divided. She has one hand, she has one, and the other hand she has another. These are two divisions of an associated fish. And here we can see that the moon, you can't make any of these things up, family. This blood moon is happening in the house of Virgo. And you can see that right here. The blood moon is happening right inside the border of Virgo. It's lined up with the lion's tail. It matches directly with the Hermit card from 2017. This is a very, very important sign of the last part, the last key to everything that we're looking at with the bride. This is another dedicated sign in the heavens of what the bride is going through. So the moon is a representation of the bride. The bride is being shown as red. We have the bride being shown as a unclean sign. This is a menstrual cycle sign. The woman is unclean for 7 days from the point of her ending her menstrual cycle. So we see that the moon sign on the midnight hour of the 14th, we can just go back an hour on the 13th, look at the location of the moon. It's just starting to become blood. The blood sign is just starting as she crosses over the line, family. You just cannot make these things up. This is a dedicated sign to us. If we move forward on meridian, you can see that the moon is now, let's look at this, and you can see here that the moon is almost, you can see right here that the moon, the blood is almost finished on meridian. So we're lined up on meridian, and on the right side you can still see the shadow of the earth. This is the finality of the blood moon. So we're looking at the 14th as the first day of the 7-day period of being unclean. So that takes us until the end of the 20th, which would be sunset on the 20th, which would be our entrance to the day that the bride becomes clean. And that is essentially the 21st, which is the spring equinox. And that means the bride is now 1 week or another 7 days, showing us again the cycle of Jacob, the cycle of Joseph, the 7 and the 7. It's all division in heaven being broken down for us, showing us that these codes are standing, and they are showing us that this is a message to the bride of Christ. So now let's look at the 321. Let's look at these. Let's look at these signs, fam. We have to just. Hopefully, you can just stick with me. This is going to go over an hour, but we've got to develop out the rest of this story. We're looking at Esther. This is asteroid Esther, and let's watch Esther. Family, you cannot tell me, nobody on earth can tell me that these things are not playing out as a match for the Bible. This is a direct match for the biblical tale of the bride. We're seeing the 6 and the 6. We're seeing that they have a very specific. We're seeing 6 months of myrrh, 6 months of sweet perfumes. The entire code ends on the 28th, and 1 week before the finality of the bride signs, who do we see entering into the huppah? Of course, it's Esther. And she aligns at 3:35 in the morning. She enters into the inner, what I would consider sanctuary. This is the bridal sanctuary. She's now in the upper huppah. She now has entered into Ophiuchus. She has the protection of the Archangel Michael. She is now inside of the house. And this is on the 21st. And again, we have another 7, marking the week of the bride. This is the wedding sign. We have the wedding sign being shown to us right here in Stellarium. You can go look at this. If you have a telescope, you can go look at these things for yourself. If you are capable of jumping on a computer, you can just go to Stellarium Web, and you can do all of this for yourself. I can't make any of these things up. I'm showing you a very specific code in the heavens. Now, quickly, we're going to go here. I had this pulled up yesterday. I don't have it pulled up, so hopefully it doesn't cause any more problems. I was trying to keep this really simple You can see that I have really serious issues with this computer. It just, wow, it takes a long time to get things going, and uh, it's very frustrating. Um, but I really want to bring this forward. We're going to go here to Bible Hub, and we're looking at Strong's 622. And the reason we're going to Strong 622 is Esther is 622 Esther. And we're here on the Hebrew first, and we're looking at 622 Asaph, and Asaph is to gather, to collect, assemble, remove, take away. This is the meaning, is to gather for any purpose, to take away, to remove. This is the assembly family. So let's go to the Greek double. And we've been talking about the escape of the bride, and then the left behind, and the tribulation. We're seeing signs in the heavens for the tribulation of man, and we're essentially we're deep in the tribulation of man, with all the wars, with everything that's gone on. We have already been in all kinds of tribulation. Anybody who says that we're not in tribulation, just all you have to do is remember back to 2020. Anybody who says that wasn't part of a tribulation of man is very confused about what the word tribulation means, and is very confused about where we're at in the timeline. And we'll be breaking that down later on when we get to the escape of the bride and our final videos with Michael Stands Up. So apolumi, this is Greek. Apolumi, to destroy, to perish, to lose, meaning I kill, destroy, I lose. This is and we're being shown this sign with the asteroid Esther. Hopefully, forgive me, fam. I'm going to see a friend tonight, and hopefully, we'll get everything rectified. Here we go again. I might have to close. I'm really sorry about this, fam. This is why I have so many problems. I can't even do multiple videos in a day anymore because and cancel a bunch of stuff to pull up pictures and all of the research that I do. The computer is absolutely overloaded, and I really can't rectify it with the financial situation I'm in. Now with the new computer, we will have all these problems gone, and then I can just send this computer to be fixed. It has multiple issues. I'm sure you can hear the fan is about to blow out. uh, I'm just doing my best with the tools I have. So here we're looking at Esther on the 21st, and we have some very, very specific signs. We're going to break these signs down. It's important to be able to see what we're looking at in the heavens. We're looking at Esther is in the Hoopa, and we're going to be now looking at a couple things that are very, very important to understand in these signs. So first, we're looking at Dembowska, and if you've been following me for a while, then you know how important this asteroid is. It's been involved in all of our wedding signs and the birthing signs. It's been associated with Vesta and with Juno and with all the signs that we saw in Libra. And we have Dembowska, who is showing us what we would call the and that is the center of the menorah, and we can see the constellation of Libra as a menorah lamp, and that is directly associated with Esther. And so we're looking at the shamash, which is the center candle on the menorah that lights all the other candles, which is a very, very important sign. We can see right above the altar is Vesta, which represents the virgins. They are right at the altar of the marriage. So that's an important sign. We have this happening on the 21st, family. This is all signs happening on the 21st. 1 week from the blood moon. We're now out of the purification period. We're now 1 week away from the end of the Esther cycle. This looks to me as the wedding week of the bride. So now we can see these signs in the heavens pointing to this. Now we're going to go to Juno. This is very, very important, family. Juno can represent the bride that is associated with the serpent. This can be looked at as the bride that Esther replaces. This is the bride that is divorced. She's now aligned with the serpent. And we have Esther, as you see. Juno does not enter into the temple. Let's watch this, family. This is part of the storyline. Let's center on Juno. And let's just move back, and you can watch this. Juno goes from the scale. She's in the scales, and she starts moving towards and turns away from the hoopah and enters into the serpent. And she ends up lining up with the serpent, family. So we have a very, very, very specific sign in the heavens being shown to us. And this is associated with the bride. This is the divorced bride. So now we are going to be looking at the moon on this day. She is in, we can mark here and you can see that she is not inside of the constellation of Scorpius, and she is inside of the Hoopa of Ophiuchus. So again, we have Esther and the moon inside. Let's do this really quick. I just noticed something that could be an alignment. Let's see if this happens. Possibly not. No. Okay, I was thinking that there was a possible alignment on Meridian with the moon and Esther, but we're looking at Esther entering into the upper Hoopa, which is the heavenly wedding, where the wedding actually takes place, family. Between the legs is a representation of the Hoopa, and it's what we would call the protected area between the legs of Ophiuchus. And again, to the Milky Way, it's all associated with the signs. And then again, forgive me, fam. I'm going to close these out. I'm really sorry. I was going to connect these. I'm going to have to once I do the video production, then I will bring all this stuff back. Whenever I have these kinds of things open, it just taps out the computer and it can't run. I really can't run anything without problems. I'm going to close this also. Forgive me, I'm just trying to get this to operate a little better. See, it's locked up on me. Okay, here we go. Alright, so we have the moon inside of the Hoopa, and we have a very, very important sign. Let's go there next. These are all associated signs, so we need to show this because this is all a story playing out in heaven. Here we're looking at, let's get this. We're looking at asteroid Kennedy, and we're looking at the alignment here just before 4:50 in the morning. We have asteroid Kennedy now aligning with Spica and what you would call the exit of the womb, family. This is a sign. We have 7166 Kennedy aligning with Spica, and this is another sign associated with the birth and with the harvest, because Spica is the harvest star. Now we're going to go to Herculina, and we have another sign happening on the 21st. These are all associated signs, fam. You can't make any of this up. It's all happening on the same day. In some cases, within hours, these signs develop out. Here we have Herculina. Again, we have two signs in the house of Capricorn being pointed to us. We have Herculina and Hebe. Herculina is now aligned with the temple of death and sacrifice. Again, this is showing us a tribulation sign. I'm going to be bringing these all out again when we do the escape of the bride. I will connect the codes at that time. We're not even close to these alignments. I'm bringing them forward so that we can see all the connections. So this is a tribulation sign. Hebe, if you look back, let's get this centered. If we just go back to the 17th, we can see how Hebe is aligned with the horns. This is a war sign, family. We're potentially about to see the war really kick off on the 17th, and we now have death entering into the temple on the 21st. These are all associated with our signs. We have we can go here. This is all connected, family. These signs are all happening on the same day, and you can't make it up. You just have to look at what's happening in the heavens, and this is all happening on the same day. 321, we have Mars, a war sign, Archangel Kamael. Kamael is one of the archangels that is essentially Michael's first-hand angel that works with him as a guardian and a protector of the heavens. He is the angel of divine justice, and he holds the scales, family. This archangel holds the scales. This is another war sign. It's another sign of tribulation. And again, we have a connection to the 21st. Okay, now let's go look at another sign. Hopefully you're being able to see everything I'm presenting. Okay, family, again, you cannot make this stuff up. We're looking at asteroid Metis. If you've been with me for a while, you know how important this asteroid is. This is Metis equals wedding. If you look at the Wikipedia, its meaning is mixed, and this is the mixed Gentile bride in the scale. Look, fam, this is Metis in the scale. The virgins are at the top of, they're right there at the altar. Dembowska is there as a witness and also as the shamash, showing us that this is a story of Esther. Then we look over at Esther, and Esther is entering into the inner sanctuary of the wedding chuppah. And we can see the bride is inside of the chuppah. Also, the moon is a representation of the archangel Gabriel, the messenger, the witness. You can't tell me that these things in the heavens are not playing out the story of the bride and the bridegroom. We're seeing all of these signs playing out, and we're going to go to our last sign. This is Venus and the sun, and this is very important, family. We have the alignment of Venus and Neptune, and it's also an alignment with the sun, which I believe happens here. Actually, I believe this happens on the 20th. Let's watch this alignment here. Here we go. Okay, so this is happening the day before. We have Venus and the sun, and Neptune, and Venus and Neptune are aligned still on the next day as the sun passes by. Again, Venus is on this day is now a morning star, family. This is very important language in the heavens. If you remember back, we were showing you the signs when it was in the fish, and that was a sign of the bride. Now on the 16th, we have Venus entering into going behind the sun, but now it enters into what's called the morning star, and that is a representation of Christ. And now we see Christ on the wing of Pegasus. And now Christ is aligned with the sun, and Christ is aligned with Neptune. Neptune being the god of the sea. And this is another judgment sign. And what we're going to do next is our last bit. We're going to show you a very important, this is the final, last key to the entire, let's get the sun on center point. This is our final sign, the last key, family, right here. Okay. We see all of our signs again that we saw in 2016. We saw the same signs in 2023. And now, 2 years later, again, remember I said that there's a 2-year period. If we look at the equinox signs that we got for the bride as the beginning of the story, then this is the finality of the 2 years for the first bride. Remember, I said the finality of the birth would happen sometime this summer. We'll be bringing that forward later. Right now, we're talking about the Gentile bride and the end of the cycle of the Gentile bride. It can't go any longer than this right here. And now we're going to show you something very important. I want everyone to pay attention to the location of this coming partial eclipse. This is really important language in the heavens. There's only one location in heaven on the ecliptic that points to the constellation of Cetus. They don't nothing that travels along the ecliptic has anything to do with Cetus except for this one location. Right here you can see the Cetus line come up to the ecliptic, and what do you know, we have the sun and the moon aligning right there, pointing out a very specific sign. This is the 29th. This is the end of the purification cycle, and this is a war sign, family. First, the sun is Michael. Second, the moon is Gabriel. We have Mercury and Venus and Saturn all lined up. Neptune is there. We have comets involved in the picture. We can see that what we're looking at here is a war sign over the great whale, the sea serpent. Cetus is a representation of the sign of Jonah. Cetus is the great whale. It's involved in the sign of the Son of Man. He said he wouldn't give you a sign except for the sign of Jonas. The whale is associated with the great sea beast Cetus, and Cetus is associated with the fish. This is all language that is encoded in the Bible, and we're looking at a war sign. Michael is the sun, Gabriel is the moon, and they're lining up right over the tail of Cetus, showing us a war in heaven about to play out. And again, as above, so below, we should expect a great war to be developing any day. I believe it's going to start on either the 15th or the 16th of March. We could potentially see things start to develop sooner, but I believe the iPet goat sign of the rise of the Mahdi, and that blood moon eclipse. If you go to iPet goat and you look at the Obama, it looks like Obama, and he looks like the Mahdi, and he is rising on the he's rising on the 14th during the blood moon eclipse, and that timing being shown with the armies of the Mahdi, that is a war sign, and that war in heaven should begin to develop with that blood moon eclipse, which happens on the 14th. So we're looking for that sign to begin the war, and it could take a week for that to develop out and begin to materialize. Again, associating that with the dates that we're looking at here, which is going to be the 21st through the 29th. And I believe that we should be in full-blown war by the end of March. And this is very, very, very important language in the heavens so that everybody can prepare. I do not think that we will be seeing what a lot of people think with this so-called peace. Um, I think that when the people say peace and safety, then comes sudden destruction. I think we're about to see a gigantic war develop from this, and this is the final piece of the puzzle. We're looking at all of the signs that we need to finish the story of the first bride. Again, thanks for coming, family. We will do our best to get through the repair of the computer today, and we should have, within the next day or two, we should have our new studio completely operational. Again, I'm going to ask for all of the subscribers, if you like the work we're doing, please go into the community page and post a thank you to Eric, one of the subscribers on the channel who purchased the body here and our channel a brand new laptop computer. I've got a brand new 17-inch HP laptop, and I finally have the new microphone functioning, and I'm just going to do the last bit of setup, and we should have a really nice studio so that we can do quality videos. Thanks for coming, and again, please go to the community and thank Eric. Much love.